Good evening, everyone. This is the November 1st Capital Improvement Committee meeting. Tonight, we, excuse us, one of our members, Wayne Michaud, is unable to be with us. We are a committee of 3, so we do have a quorum. Tonight, we have with us an Acton citizen who wants to know a little bit more about us, sitting in with us, and hopefully he'll decide he wants to talk to the selectmen about coming on to the committee with us. Tonight on our agenda, even though he's not here yet, was we were going to speak with Robin Ham, our superintendent at the transfer station, about some of the ideas he has for making the transfer station, shall we say, less hazardous, as it's being, we all know, going in and out of there at times can be somewhat of a, kind of like a roller derby thing, but hopefully Robin will show up. We expect our liaison any moment. He will be here. But going on, a little update of things that have happened. Last 2 weeks ago at the road committee meeting, the road committee made a recommendation to the selectmen that the West Shore Drive culvert be replaced with a stream crossing open bottom culvert. They're usually concrete, and they do that. Last week, that was their recommendation, and it was a unanimous recommendation. Last week at the selectmen's meeting, the selectmen had made their recommendation, or their choice, I should say, and that they were going to go with an in-kind replacement on the bridge. There are a couple of things that I'm sure we'll get more information on. And these things are important to us because we are capital improvement. We need to know how to put our recommendations forward as to how much money we should be putting aside in capital improvements. But going for an in-kind replacement on West Shore Drive, we would make us no longer eligible for the grant that is issued by the Audubon Society. The grants by the Audubon Society are for stream crossing, open bottom culverts. So that is out, that's gone. However, it's probably not all lost. We have, in fact, for those of you who haven't or heard it or seen it, we have engaged a grant writer, somebody who knows grant writing, and he will be asked to see if there are any other grants available for that. But actually the elephant in the room, which we haven't talked about a lot, is the road bridge. The road bridge got a pretty severe rating from DEP this past year. It could be in danger of being closed. That would be significant hardship for Acton, much more than it would be for Milton. People in Acton tend to use that going to Route 16 or to Route 125, going that way where you don't see many people coming the other way. But the Board of Selectmen now has put that on the forefront. We should see it on their agenda almost weekly now. That is historically, we've seen all kinds of reports going back 10 years, maybe, where that could be, at one point, there were 3 options going from anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million plus to do that. The complications with the road bridge are with another state, with another town, and I believe even the counties may have something to do with it. The other thing is the river there is a water source, drinking water source, further downriver to other communities. So it's a much more complicated situation than putting a new culvert in anywhere. I'm not going to say West Shore Drive. I want to be careful about that because, in transparency, I do live on West Shore Drive. But West Shore Drive has, in the winter, more than 50 people who are year-round residents, and that is the only way in or out of West Shore Drive. It's the only way, fire, ambulance, whatever. In the summer, I really don't remember offhand, but it might be closer to 150 people use West Shore Drive. So that culvert is very important, but it's not the same ranking as the road bridge. The number of cars that go over it alone can tell you the difference on what the uses are. That they're both important, but hopefully when our liaison gets here, we'll be able to get some information, a little more information on the bridges. Now, the other thing I was asked to put on the agenda, and I think, Joe, maybe you can help me with this, is the Lincoln School, the history of it. And it may be, my reckoning, one of the only official historic places in town, buildings in town. It may, in fact, be on the National Historic Register. I don't know that for sure. I haven't confirmed that, but that was information I got.
Well, that's interesting you brought that up because I'm not really clear as to its status. It was shuffled around during a selectmen's shuffled around and transferred the responsibility, not necessarily for maintenance, but to the Shapley Acton Shapley Historic Committee. And I was under the impression that we were donating money to that group so that they could renovate and repair the school in itself. But years ago it was done, I believe by, I think it was the 4-H in that group. We donated $500 a year for maintenance and whatever. It was, it was like part of the yearly town maintenance of where it stands now, I don't know. But if the Shapley, Acton Shapley historic people aren't doing anything, I think they should return the money that we extended them, because they haven't done anything, and I don't know why they even thought about doing it. I don't know the whole history of it. I don't know. Do you know anything about it, Dennis?
Yeah, Dennis Long is here, and we're going to put him on the spot. Dennis, do you have any information you can share?
I said I wasn't gonna say anything tonight, but Joe's making.
I don't see it. Well,
And, no, Joe's right. For years and years, the 4-H did take care of that, and a lot of volunteer work by different people. So it didn't fall down, and I know Bernadette and fixed the foundation.
Yeah.
Volunteered his time to do that.
There's a lot of volunteer.
A lot of volunteer. And the reason that this Historical Society got involved was because the town stopped doing anything to it. And the insurance company, about 10 years ago, shut it down because of the wiring and the stuff in the building, the panel and stuff like that. So the town fixed that, and since that time, nobody's done anything, and it's like you said, Joe, that's why I forget who brought it to the Warrant Finance Committee. There was supposedly the money was given them, they were going to earmark it to do work there, but I think the real problem is the organization of volunteerism to do the work, because, I mean, as anybody knows, $500 or $1,000 today doesn't...
Well, I think it was $2,000, but it was for a couple of years. It was 2,000.
Yeah, I don't think it was that much, Joe.
Oh, no, it was at least 2,000.
I'm looking at our last warrant, and unless I just don't see it, I really don't see anything.
Well, I think they bunched them all together years ago.
Oh, no, they're not bunched together. They are,
It's not there?
I may be missing it, Joe.
2,000.
When we started giving the Historical Society money about 12 years ago, it was because they were in the same boat with their building down there. The insurance company
Yeah.
shut them down, and they had to rewire the place, they had to put a new roof on the place, and stuff like that. So that's when we started giving Historical Society some money. But Joe's right, historically, we did give a couple $100 a year, or whatever it was, for maintenance of the Lincoln School.
So when was the Lincoln School built?
It's in the early 1800s, I believe.
All right.
It's not the only old school. We got the Red Schoolhouse up Young's Ridge too, but the town doesn't own that. The landowner up there owns that. That's the only old school now that we have that has any history, when we had the one-room schoolhouses.
Well, that brings up, if you go out on Milton Mills Road,
Yeah,
and near Dennis Lane, in fact,
yeah.
what is that building? There's a small building on the left-hand side. I always thought,
Milton Mills Road, that's where the Lincoln School is.
okay, but is that little,
Yeah,
that is actually it?
yeah.
That looks like, okay, I mean,
Looks like an old building. And
It does,
And the
it does.
town has, for some reason, put a lot of stuff in it and just storing stuff in there. That doesn't, I mean, the whole idea when they put this on the historical register, the National Register, was because anything you fix there has to be original, the original kind of glass, the original, everything has to be original.
yeah.
And for many years, there were people in town that took pride in preserving our history. And I think it's harder and harder to do that today.
Yeah, well, Joe, that brings up a point that you and I need to address. Thank you, Dennis. Since we are capital improvement, and since a lot of what we're seeing for capital improvement has come forward because of truly lack of maintenance, there was not a capital improvement committee for many years, and there are a lot of things that are now considered capital because of the amount of money and the time that has gone by since maintenance was done. Is this something we want to follow through on, Joe?
I think it should be investigated to see what's there. I drove down there, the front door looked like it was don't know, kind of in shambles. I haven't been inside.
Well, is it something we want to?
Well,
Because should we preserve it, in other words? Should the town spend the money to preserve it?
I think we should look into it and see, open the door up and see what it is, whether the sills are rotted, or you got bats living in there, or what. I don't know, because I haven't been in there. If it was left, if it's left to the responsibility of the Acton Shapley historic people, I think we should talk to them and ask them what they did or what they intended to do and what they did with our money, you know?
Yeah, go from there. All right, I'm not going to,
I don't know, it's just got, let's get down and investigate the place and see what we
all right,
got.
I'm not going to ask for a motion on that. I think we can just, by consensus, agree. We need to investigate it and see if
Exactly, yeah.
it's something worth us being involved with where it comes to money. On this, you're going to see update on the municipal engineering project. Way back, after our money was allocated, I was asked to put together a scope of work and list a few companies that could do the engineering. Starting with, I'm going to go back to our request to the selectmen for the 2022-23 budget. And what I wrote to the selectmen was, prior to expending any additional funds on the renovation of the town hall complex, we believe that it is prudent to engage a professional engineering firm to assess the condition of the building and internal components to learn their current state of repair. This assessment would include all building components, electrical, plumbing, structural integrity of the walls, foundation, the roof. The study will also forecast future maintenance needs of the building complex so that the town can develop long-term capital renewal and funding plans. I'll be happy to provide additional information as required. So that went to them, and we did get the money from the town meeting, and just going to stop that right here. Joe did find the article where the town voted to raise and appropriate $2,000 to the Acton Shapley Historical Society.
I think they did that the year before. I don't know how many, we should go down and audit their expenditures to
Right.
see what they're doing.
What they're doing.
You know, I think they mean well, but they're
Right.
misdirected.
Right. But having read, now going back to this $10,000 that we asked for, and town did voted to give to us, this is how it was sent to the town, to the select board. Town administrator to the select board. And I understand that was the proper way of doing things. On Article 69, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $10,000 from the unassigned fund balance to hire an engineer to assess the municipal complex for future land and building improvements. Not exactly what I had written, but not exactly not what I had written. And I will take a lot of responsibilities for that. I have never written to ask to have something put on the warrant before. This has gotten pretty complicated. I was then asked to submit a scope of work. So hello, and welcome, and thank you.
I thought it was at 6.
Thank you for being here.
I got home at 5 and I got, so,
Well,
here I am.
Join us, thank you. We'll be with you.
Better late than never.
Absolutely. Whoa, don't fall off the chair.
No.
Thank you very much. We're just going to go over this. I sent this one when I was asked to, if we could, give more information. So, scope of work to conduct a facilities condition assessment report on the listed town of Acton properties. Municipal building and gym, building and parking lot, fire department building and parking lot, transfer station and parking lot. The objectives. The main objective of the facilities condition assessment is to measure the condition and functionality of the buildings and its infrastructure as suitable and appropriate for intended functions. At that point, we had, way back a year ago, when Mr. McGurty was on our committee, he had talked to a company called Bureau Veritas to get an idea of what it would cost and everything. They're out of the greater Washington DC area, Virginia or Maryland. I came up with companies, it's now been 5 companies, besides Bureau Veritas, Plymouth Engineering, which is in Newport, Maine, Emmanuel Engineering, which is in Stratton, New Hampshire, and 2 others on the piece of paper I don't have in front of me, anyway, who do this particular kind of work. And they're either, one is in Portland and the other is also in New Hampshire, but they're all very local. So they have this, that will be sent out soon. The scope of work has changed dramatically, this is what was written up for it, and the 2 of you can have, if you want to share this, it goes on and on and on. I mean, it really takes it apart. The comprehensive assessment of all the buildings and the building systems and infrastructure, following the ASTM E2018-15 Standard Guide for Property Condition Assessments as it's applicable. The present condition and the life expectancy.
Is this something that's already been done or is being proposed?
It's being proposed.
And what's the cost from the engineering company to do something like that?
Well, we're sending out RPs to find out.
Oh, I got you.
The one that we did have from Bureau Veritas was $8,500.
Wasn't that for just this building, or was
No, that was for
transfer station also?
fire station and transfer station.
Okay, all right, so
Yeah.
you said that it changed. Did the specs change, or?
No, the specs didn't change. It was just kind of as what was asked for and how it was.
Want me to speak?
Sorry?
Want me to speak?
Yeah, thank you. And how it was translated, all right?
Good job.
This is not a request to have an engineer for the roads, okay? Although, the committee does not disapprove of that, but this particular ask was to take care of the municipal complex. And before you speak, Dennis, I think that's something that I hold. To me, the municipal complex is everything we own. It's the school, it's the fire department, It's the transfer station, and it's this property right here. That is our complex, that's the whole thing. I guess perhaps in engineering terms, that's a wrong thing to call it, but, and that's on me, but I think we can get around that. Dennis?
It's completely up to the selectmen how they deal with this, because the warrant article was municipal complex and land, and I know the intent, it was just like Joyce is saying, for all the buildings, and, but the only thing that I've heard at selectmen's meetings is just the town hall and the parking lot, seems to be what their focus is on. I know what the intent was, but when a complex is buildings, a set of buildings on one piece of property, and by definition, and so I don't know how the selectmen are gonna go with this. They haven't, I know they said they want to send out an RFP, but I don't know in the RFP if it specifies, obviously it would have to specify either one building or two buildings or five buildings, or, you know what I mean? And I haven't heard them say one way or the other.
Well, from what I have been told, it would be this building. This complex includes the town offices, meeting hall, library, and old firehouse building.
Yeah.
The fire department and safety buildings with an S, and the transfer station.
That's in the RFP?
That's, yeah, this is a draft for the RFP.
Okay.
And that's for an engineering company to come in and tell the town, this is what you need to do to upgrade this facility, that facility, to bring it up to building code? Is that basically it?
Well,
Building code and make the insurance company happy.
So, and then, I'm, just because I'm the new guy here, but, so the capital improvement fund, the money that you have to spend is $33,000.
no, we have $10,000.
Oh, for.
I know it says.
No,
in
no,
there,
for this estimated engineering report is 85.
8,500.
But the total money that, if we were to buy something tomorrow, would be $33,000 for the complex, if you will.
I'm gonna ask Warren Finance to address that.
With that 33,000.
It's just here in the capital improvement committee outline. It just says, $33,574 for capital improvement fund. Then you got the recreation capital improvement fund.
Okay, and what that is.
Dams, and you got
that-
bridges.
Yes.
Yeah.
That capital improvement fund, they started quite a while ago. They spent a little money out of it, but that was,
But Dennis, is that the money, like if they come back with this report and they say, okay, do this, do this, do this, and, you know, obviously you're not gonna be able to do everything, right? But let's say that, you need, a heating system or whatever, and it's 33 grand, that's all the money, right?
that's all the money
33
for
grand,
capital
right?
improvement,
Okay.
yes.
So, just in hindsight, my point would be that, you were talking about, volunteers with the Lincoln School and blah, 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 but, I mean, how many self-employed people do we have here in this community? A lot of people are general contractors, commercial contractors. That is almost a quarter of your entire, available funding to spend the $8,500 for this engineering
Right.
report. Which, and by the time you get to being able to do any of these, things, the codes are probably gonna change again, and things are gonna get worse, and it's, anyways, it just seems like a lot of money a quarter of the $33,000 that you have to spend on an engineering report, when, I mean, we could get a lot of people here in the community to be able to tell us, okay, yeah, if you need to put sprinklers, you need to sprinkle this building, it's gonna cost you, $15,000 or whatever, instead of, I don't know, I just think it's kind of a waste
What
of
brought to
money.
mind, Gary, was that as the town has been growing the last 2 years quite a bit, the town offices, the clerk and whatever, you can see that it's expanding. Even having a meeting in this room gets to be, should we have it to the school auditorium? At some point, we had looked at possibly what would happen to this complex if we put an addition toward 109, took down the old firehouse, and incorporated that space into parking and whatever, and so that we could maintain this structure as an annex to the new complex, so that we could eventually have a more efficient municipal structure. As opposed to what happens usually is they leave this as a token of the past, and they go buy a new piece of land and they build a brand new structure with, ramps and the whole 9 yards, and you go into the next century with an efficient modern building. So, I mean, this little old town hall has so much character to it. It leans, it croaks. It's not really fully efficient, and that's what we're trying to determine, how efficient or where we're gonna go as far as renovating the kitchen, which is, a nice thing to do, but at the same time, it's not insulated. There are problems with rodents and the water situation. If the water's not potable, what are you gonna do with it? So, there's a lot too involved in it, but by looking at it now, seeing the mistakes of the past, we can review what we need to do and hopefully have a better future for everybody, for the town.
To give you, just thinking about this capital improvement fund, I'm gonna say it's about 12 years ago, the town sold some property, and that's when they started the capital improvement fund. And I forget what it was, around $20,000 or something like that back then. And honestly, it's basically sat there ever since, and nothing's just really been done with it. And with this $10,000 that this committee come up with last year for the engineering, specifically, and I understand what you're saying, but the $10,000 that they appropriated this year was just for the engineering. Yeah. And the way the rec capital improvement works is money that they bring in during the year, or money they have left over, it rolls over into a capital improvement fund. For example, a couple years ago, they put a new well in up, they put a well in up there, not a new one, but a well, and fixed the existing parking lot. And then, this last year, the town appropriated, I think it was $30,000 to do a parking lot on the other end. And so much of the money that's in the rec capital improvement went towards that. I don't remember what the actual dollar amounts is, but they're all separate. And the one that you're talking about is not designated for any purpose yet, other than that $10,000 that we put there this year.
I think one of the things that you bring forward that's really good, though, is there's always a feeling that to get this list, and by using an engineering company, and by the way, my other paperwork, the other two engineering firms were Ekman and Northeast Civil Solutions. And they have no oar in the water other than to do what we've asked them to do. Come in, look at it, tell us what you see, thank you very much. We'll, we do ask them to prioritize, because they are the experts in it. Other than that, that's it. And we are fortunate that in this town, we do have people that we can call on who can do a lot of the things that might necessarily need to be done. You know, I think we have a plethora of plumbers in this town. And I can tell you one thing, and I'm not picking on anybody, but our bathrooms here are not ADA compliant. They have handrails on them, but you can't put a slop sink in a public bathroom. A wheelchair has no way of getting to a sink to wash their hands. I mean, that's a simple thing. Well, we know, we've got people who can come up here. You know, if that's the thing that's holding you back, we know we got a ton of people who can come in and do that kind of work.
Right.
And do more bigger jobs as well, you know, but, anyway, so that's kind of the update on that. I'll know more after this week's selectmen meeting to see how that's gone. And with no further ado, Robin, hello, and thank you for being here. Now, last year, you know, we talked to all the departments in town. And we did go up and we talked to Mr. Mann, and he was very nice, and we decided, no, there's gonna be a new superintendent. We're gonna wait for the new superintendent. So we've been waiting for you.
All right.
So, I know you have some good ideas on making things a little safer.
Well, yeah.
More efficient.
More efficient,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
safer.
Yeah, so,
My goal for this year, this budget, is to put a ramp down from the metal container, so nobody's backing up towards the recycling center. They drive in and drive out. They go to the trash, they go to the recycling, go to the metal, and drive right out. I got Will Langley giving me an estimate on that, and also a new entrance like 50 feet down the road from the entrance is now.
Are you talking about the old entrance with the fence?
No.
There's another one?
Totally, you know where the fence is now, the entrance is now?
Yeah.
Go down about 50 feet down the road and put the next one
when you say down the road, you mean
down the hill.
towards us, where we're
Correct.
So
sitting?
you'd be
Yeah.
going just beyond the leaf pile, coming through that way?
Well, you'd be kind of like kitty cornering the leaf pile. You'd be coming in there, because the entrance that you guys proposed last time, it's, you would have to go over the
Wetlands?
old dump.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can do that because it's capped. And I haven't checked with DEP on that, but it would be just way too much money for this town. I think an easy fix is put another entrance like 50 feet down the road from that one, go in. I think I can get I think Will and I figured out we could probably get 6 or 7 more cars in the fence area, because you're kind of going around a curve instead of straight in. And that way, nobody's crisscrossing when they come in.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's good, yeah.
so would the existing one be
Exit
an
only.
exit? That would be an exit only. Wow. Any idea of monies?
I'm waiting on Will to give me some estimates. Then I imagine, I don't know if we'll have to go out to bid. I would think the selectmen,
What about your idea behind the metal container headed up towards the orchard? You started clearing some trees there.
I did, that's for the new exit going out from when you go up to the metal, you go right out that way. So I have to push this trees back, I gotta dig all that out, fill in that little hole, gully right there. And that's where my refrigerators, AC units, and that stuff will be staged, because they won't come less than 150 pieces of
They haul it away free or they charge you?
Well, I just found I found a person that's gonna take it all, and there's no, and we have to charge, they think they're charging us $10 for the refrigerator, and either 8 or 9 for AC units.
You gonna start charging now up there?
That's not up to me. I have my feelings about it, and that's up to the,
You'd mentioned if you were gonna possibly clear more from the metal bin back toward the orchard.
correct,
To give
yeah,
you as much flexibility like in years to come.
yes.
When you need more. I think the problem is might be a little bit of ledge up there, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what Will gotta come down with the excavator and kinda do some
Yeah.
test holes, but what he sees right now, he don't
You can get the
think, he don't
dumpster.
think so.
you can get the dumpster thing done, but I'm talking about headed up.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we would enter from the new entrance, is that correct?
Correct.
You come around and then if you had trash,
You keep right on going straight. And then you go to the trash. If somebody had leaves, of course, they'd be in line just like they do now. They'd turn off before they get to the trash, do their leaves, and they would have to wait for an opening to go back out the exit where is the entrance now. So if you come in with trash, you're kind of in kind of like on a curve
yeah,
inside the fence area.
yeah.
So you go to the trash, go to demo, go to recycling, go to metal, and right out. There'll be no backing up nowheres.
But they'd be all headed in the right direction.
They'll be all headed the right direction, on the wrong side, but at least they won't be crisscrossing
Crisscrossing, yeah.
at the beginning. That's my lookout, because we have a lot of people with trailers, and it takes some people 10, 15 minutes to back a trailer up that ramp, or back out into people trying to recycle, and that is totally unsafe.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
That is totally unsafe, so that's my recommendation.
I think as the town grows, we're getting more and more a higher density
Yeah.
of turnover of people and, you know, like what the COVID thing was.
Right.
There it was,
Yeah.
just emerged.
What is the residency, I mean, how many, like, full-time residents would you say are in Acton, and then seasonal residents?
I think it's
Do we have
about
any?
2,700.
Yeah, I would
That's what, it could be more,
voters, we have,
1,000.
no, about 2,100 voters.
Oh, is it that?
Okay.
Yeah, and then probably 2,700
yeah. I'm gonna
residents.
say between 27 and 3.
Yeah, I don't think
In
we've
the
hit,
summers, they used to say it was right around 5 in the summertime.
In sometime?
yeah, that's,
But steady Eddie's about 3?
Yeah.
and you say it's a select board decision if you charge for,
Correct. They asked me, I went around to Wakefield, Milton, Shapley, and got all their prices, what they're charging.
Right, right.
Because we're the only town in this area that don't charge for nothing.
I would imagine.
So I had brought it up to them. I gave them my recommendation. They're gonna be talking about it in the next couple of weeks and see what,
I know, I just got rid of an old microwave, and my daughter actually said, "Oh, Mom, bring it to me." She said, "It will cost me $4." I said, "Well, it won't cost me anything." And she said, "No, no, no, bring it to me because the transfers," I almost called it a dump.
Yeah.
The transfer station where she lives, when they have, you know, I think it's $4 for this and,
Yeah.
you know, all kinds, you know, they have a different price for different things.
Correct.
But, the transfer station supports one of the kids' soccer teams.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where they get,
that's a good idea.
you know,
Yeah.
and, some of the, you know, and that's just on microwaves, just microwaves.
yeah.
Because, you know, they do have costs,
Yeah.
which involve, when you have the junk hauled off by, you know,
It
these
costs us
truckers.
$300 a load right now.
What, for refrigerators or?
No, for
Any
junk.
container.
Yeah.
Any container up there is $300. Punky's charging
Do you
$300.
make any money in the metal? Or is it close?
It's down so bad now, last month, we made $17
On one load?
on 2 loads.
Yeah,
By the
see,
time we pay Punske and what we got for metal, we made $17.
I think, I mean, first of all, Robin, since you've taken over the facility, I mean, it's been, night and day, so really hats off. I'm a junk connoisseur, so I've gotten to know Robin a little bit, but no, really, I mean, it made from everything from the leaf to the, sticks and log area to recycling. I mean, it's clean, it's a heck of a lot cleaner than it was, and, when I came here full-time, I was a seasonal guy before that, just, summers and for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, I couldn't believe that it didn't cost anything, And then there was one time that, when I first got here, I paid for a demo permit, which, hey, I understood, I brought a bunch of lumber there, but I mean, the reason why I wanted to ask you about the numbers, and I know that the town's looking at this, but, if you have 3,000 steady, full-time residents, guys, if we just charge $25 a year for the dump sticker, I mean, it costs to print the dump stickers, those aren't free. You charge, resident $25 a year for the, steady eddies, if you will. I mean, that's $150,000 in revenue, for just 1 year. If you charge the 2,000, seasonal people, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. They come up, you charge them 50 or 75. It's fair because they're coming in and they're, you got your 4th of July weekends, your Labor Day weekends. I mean, I volunteered over there at the dump. There's a lot of influx of trash coming in. And the towns, the people buying these properties for recreational, they're bringing their families, their friends, that's great, that's what life's all about, that's the American dream, right? But they're coming in and they're bringing these extra people and they're bringing extra trash, and then they're away, their properties aren't being maintained, so therefore things deteriorate. And we could look at that, I'm not trying to, pick on anybody, but I was one of those people, that wasn't here full-time, just here on the weekends. And I would fill whatever I could at the dump, other than my normal trash. So I had a huge property that I had to clean, well, not a huge property, but, I mean, I brought a lot of leaves, a lot of junk wood, a lot of trash, just stuff that was left behind and that we brought with us from another state when we moved here full-time. So my point is that, even if it was everybody paid $25 a piece, you'd be looking at probably about, I don't know, $175,000 a year in revenue. What could you do with that? And that's nothing. That's $25 a person. $25 a person.
Now, is that just demo or that just a permit to go to the dump?
That's just a permit to go to the
Yes,
dump. And
just
then,
a permit
and then on top of that, you should charge for the refrigerators because they got free on them or not.
Exactly.
I mean, just my opinion. Again,
Yeah,
I know I'm a new guy, I'm just saying that could be a great way to pay for this project and other projects. It's not a lot of money and everyone else is charging for it, right?
Well, one of the things, though, you're gonna get pushback on. I'm a person, although I've been here 23 years, I'm one of the away people. That's all some people get for their taxes, really. I mean, unless they need, start a fire or they need the ambulance. They don't use the schools,
Yeah.
and if they're on the lake, they're paying high taxes now. I mean, we both know that, we're lake people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not a bad idea. I think selling it is the way to do it. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just looked at it and in my head as you're speaking, and I said, okay, You want a seasonal permit? Your seasonal permit is gonna be from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And, you do pay a lot of taxes. We're gonna charge you $15. You want a year tip, it's 25. Senior citizens, come on in. We're not gonna,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
yeah, you know?
Yeah, but then somebody's gotta, are you a senior citizen, are you this? You know, when we get busy in the summertime, there's 4 of us up there and we are straight out.
Yeah, no, it's nothing that you should have to do there.
Well,
That should be,
that's my feeling, even though they're summer people, summer, full-time, doesn't matter. I treat people
the same.
equally, no matter
Yep, you should.
you're far away or you come.
Yeah.
You use a facility, like the refrigerators and that stuff, I think we need to charge.
Yeah.
The demo, I think we should give all taxpayers one demo permit. I don't care if you come in with 1 2x4 or you come in with a whole truckload of them. That is, when you dump that 1 2x4 or one piece of plywood, that's your demo. Then after that, you get charged.
Yeah.
Well, you have to get a demo permit anyway. Not for the dump, but you gotta go
Well,
downstairs and get a demo
Well, and
demo permit.
that would be in
Yeah, so,
with that fee.
Yeah,
and not to beat a dead horse, but when, you know, before I came here, I had my own business, and we did a lot of, you know, trash haul off, you know, demo from construction jobs, right? So, we used to have a deal, they loved us because we were a veteran organization at the city of Cottonwood. They wouldn't charge us a lot, but they would have to charge us something. So, a 14-foot dump trailer, you know, full, not way over the top, you know, probably looking at $25, right? Then Waste Management took it over, and they got wind of, you know, special favors going on. You can't go to that dump. I'm talking brush, I'm talking, you know, leaves and branches, okay? And if it's construction, it's usually more. You can't walk out of there now for under $70, $75. You know, they started making money and stopped making friends, you know? But they're running a business, you know?
And then you gotta run it.
It's $300 every time he hauls that, you know,
Yeah.
that dumpster. That's just one of them.
Right.
So, yeah, but anyways, that's,
I can give you the numbers for May and June to get rid of the demo.
okay, well, speaking of numbers, and Dennis, why don't you say what you gotta say before I go back to numbers?
Just a little history. We used to charge for dump stickers. Did it for a lot of years.
yeah,
And we used to charge for anything other than rubbish that we threw out up there. And the reason why the town stopped doing that was because there was too much stuff on the private roads that was being dumped because they didn't want to pay.
really.
It's hard because one example would be, I knew this lady, elderly lady, that had put a living room chair in the back of her car somehow and took it up to the transfer station to get rid of it. And they wanted, first they wanted her to take it apart. And she was in the middle 80s then. And the second thing was, well, we'll take it apart, but you have to pay us $5. But there was an awful lot of refrigerators, TVs, air conditioners on 111 private roads in this town.
Really?
And that's why it stopped, because the theory was that every taxpayer sometime in their life is going to take a microwave or a refrigerator or air conditioner or something like that up there to get rid of it. So even though you might not do it this year or next year, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to do it before you're done. And it was kind of looked at that, I'm just going to use the school for an example, okay? There's added expenses to the stuff that the kids do to school above and beyond their regular learning. So basketball, for example, it's expensive to hire somebody to be their coach and things like that, but you don't pay anymore because you use that service. You know what I mean? Your bill for the school is a bill for your school. And the transfer station has had the luxury, with Robin and Bobby before, treating people good and reputation and anything they wanted, the taxpayers have always said no problem. And it's been like that for quite a while. And I would hate to see us go back. I understand financially what you're talking about, Robin, but we all share the burden. And I'd hate to see it go back to the TVs and the refrigerators and all that stuff dumped on people's private property, building materials, shingles. I remember when my boy put his place in, we just put his driveway in. And we went down there the next weekend to do some work, and somebody had dumped 2 truckloads of asphalt shingles in his driveway. And very frustrating. And I know what they do in other towns. They all charge.
But we have stuff coming from other towns to this town.
I was just gonna ask that, yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Oh, I agree with you, Rob.
I was over to Wakefield to a friend of mine, and this guy came in that he knew, I didn't know, and we got talking about, somehow got on the dumps and transfer station. He says, yeah, I take my stuff, before I came superintendent, I take my stuff to Acton because they don't charge nothing.
Right.
He owns property,
Yeah.
but he don't have a house.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, you know, it's a catch-22.
I don't know what the answer is, but I know it was pretty sad when we were charging and stuff was dumped out
Do
everywhere.
these other towns have this? Right now, I have a mattress on Riverview I have to go pick up. How come that mattress didn't find its way there, because we didn't charge nothing?
I don't even know why you could go pick it up.
Because
It's on a road,
you're right, it's on a town road.
so I don't know why you have to do it, but that's between you and administration.
But, you know, it's on a town road. We're gonna let the people just, no matter on a dirt road or beside the road, if, you know, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna leave it there? You know, I'm asking a question. Do we leave it there, or?
I don't know. I'd
I'd call
notify
the road
the property
commissioner
owner.
and say, you got a mattress on your road, go pick it up.
Well,
No, I
I'm the handyman, so I'm the one that.
All I wanted to do was explain
Oh, I do know.
why we did charge and why we stopped charging. And
There's also a
it
thing,
is what it is.
How long ago was that, Dennis? Where the town actually charged?
2010,
10, yeah.
yeah, probably 2010, 2011.
Robin, do you
It's
think,
when Randy Goodwin was running the transfer station.
that if you have 4 people and you're straight out, in the summer, you should have a 5th person there during that time?
Days, yes, there's some days in the summertime, we could use one person just outside.
On the weekends, so, yeah.
Even on Wednesdays, you know, when we have, in the summertime, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, or whatever the heck it is there, we are busy.
With inflation and everything.
You know, especially when you gotta make a bale of cardboard, and you got 15 people trying to put recycling in, we gotta
I
hold
mean,
them
should
up.
you put that in your budget, you think?
What's that?
Another person?
In your budget.
I don't think, at this point, I don't think we need another person right now. I'm kind of flexible, you know? I kind of move around where I'm needed, you know, like when we get backed up out to the road, I go 2 or 3 cars down, grab the trash, throw it in, that car's out of here to make room.
Okay, so you're the floater.
I'm the floater, correct.
You go everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it came back to budget because, and I'm actually glad for this conversation because I think a lot of times we have different departments, supervisors, department heads and chairmen who don't have an opportunity to talk and voice their opinions their feelings, any of it. So I'm really glad you're here and to do that. But now I'm going to bring you right back to, how much money are you going to need?
How much money am I gonna need for?
Right, and I know, and I know you need to talk to, that's one of the things with a lot of stuff that's been going on, and we don't estimate, we guesstimate.
Yeah.
We guesstimate what we're gonna need.
Yeah.
If you wanna know what West Shore is gonna cost you, ask the guy who's doing the work what it's gonna cost you. So, I know you need to talk to Will to get
To get a
some...
ballpark.
To get a ballpark?
Yeah.
That's a number we'd like to know, because I'm going to assume it's going to be more than $5,000.
Yes.
So it is it's a true capital improvement. This is not maintenance, it's a wonderful example of what a capital improvement is.
Correct.
We have this transfer station. It's been running along, fairly well. We haven't heard of any major,
No.
incidents or
Knock on
anything.
wood.
And you aren't kidding. We always do that. But this is an improvement. So as soon as you have some,
I'll give them, to you.
let us know, send us an email, a call. You see one of us at the transfer station. Someday I'll get used to
Yeah.
saying that. I am sorry.
No,
I don't mean disrespect
No,
at all.
I always do it too.
I do not mean disrespect. It's something we should really have, because and budget season is coming fast. So we have to get our work done quickly. But I mean, the new entrance, how long, how far is, are we talking 500 feet? Are we talking
What?
the new entrance?
From the old one?
No, not
in?
from, okay? Here's the old one, here's
Yeah.
the new one.
Yeah.
How far are we going in?
You're gonna go in all the way
How far is that?
to where the tower is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm gonna guess probably 150 feet.
Okay. So, that's the place where you can find some numbers then. I'm trying to think of, what it cost on, to do the road over so much per foot per tire.
Right,
and all
yeah.
that, Yeah.
Of course, I got the tree, I already had the tree guy already there, gave me an estimate.
Okay.
I have cut a lot of trees myself
Yeah.
to save us some money,
Okay.
and just kind of lugged it across to the brush pile. So hopefully that number's gonna go down, because I've already done quite a bit of the work that he gave us an estimate for.
Would it be a paved entrance? Is it?
It would be, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And new-
Eventually, when they reconstruct that hill, that will be all compensated into one.
yeah, new
Gravel for a
fence.
few years or a year until we get something that Will has something to either put a third lane in or make it a little bit wider there, so it's a more safer on that end.
Yeah.
And a new fence along
Right.
the H Road.
Yeah, yeah. And I would really would like to have one of them fences where you punch your number in and the gate opens like they do in these safe storage things.
Oh, yeah.
That way there's no keys, no nothing, you got your code, road commissioner's got a code, they punch it in, you go up on the computer, road commissioner was in on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. or
Right, right.
Robin was in at 10 o'clock in the morning, or whatever the case may be. And that would eliminate all the keys, but I had to cut the chain, what's today?
November 1st.
Monday. I had to cut the chain Monday when I opened up Monday, because the trash guys put the lock to chain. Instead of lock to lock, we have two locks, one for us and one for Toronto, the trash guys. So when he locked it, he locked the chain to chain. So I had to go in, grab the Sawzall, come out and cut the chain so I could get in.
Wow. Do you think it is at all possible that you'll have numbers by January?
Yes,
All right,
for that, two projects.
For the project.
For the metal and the new entrance, yes,
you'll have things by January?
yes.
Okay, so we're going to meet actually on January 10th. And I'm gonna put you on the agenda for that. And I'll leave messages everywhere for you too. And we do meet at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
For some reason, I was thinking 6.
well, everybody meets at 6, but,
Yeah.
you know, this way you can still go home and have your dinner
And
and
relax and, yeah,
and be okay.
absolutely.
You know, and be okay. Robin, thank you so much. Does anybody have any further questions for Robin? Joe?
No, no.
That's part of my big picture is them two things is trying to get them done first.
It's really good to know, you know, I know we probably want to see you on warrant and finance as well, but, you know, but that's great. That's great. Hang out for a minute if you want, because you're also fire department person. And now that we do have our new fire chief, Chief Ham, I think they know each other well. You know, they're a little bit related. You must be very proud of him.
Yes, very.
Yes,
Yeah.
you must be. Last year, when we talked to Rick gave us a 55-year projection on things that the fire department was going to need, which I know sounds like, what do you mean 55? And the way that works is, everything the fire department uses, almost everything, has a life expectancy, a built-in obsolescence maybe, but I mean, they can, and depending on where you are, you're rural or you're in the city. If you're in the city and you have an ambulance, you can expect that bus to be gone in 3 years. And a bus unfilled, just is $100,000.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot more.
Now it's gonna be more than that,
Yeah.
but I mean, no, I'm talking about the empty shell.
Right, yep. Oh, it's gonna be more than that.
Now you start putting, yeah, a Jeep Cherokee's $100,000, so,
Yeah.
you know, so, but up here, and because of our roads, you don't get away with things saying, oh, we're rural, it's not bad. There are ambulances that are going to be needed. According to the paperwork we have from the fire department, we can expect a replacement of engine 1, a total replacement in 4 years. Today's price on that would be $600,000. Now, I can tell you, Lewiston just bought one, and they paid $1.5 million for it. The ambulance one, they're saying is another 4 years. That's from the 22-23 budget to 26-27 budget. A whole new ambulance, that at today's price, $400,000. So when we're doing, you know, and of course, we stopped this when you know, we weren't going out 55 years, but we took this out to 10 years from now. And in 10 years, engine 2 will need to be replaced. Utility 1, in about 8 years, should be replaced. Forestry 2, when it costs more to maintain it, then it's time to replace it. So just the fire department alone in the next 10 years, at today's prices, we're not talking about the, 8.75% inflation rate we got going on now. We're looking at 600,000, 400, there's $1 million. Another 700,000 for engine 2. It's $1.7 million. And then the utility truck and the forestry trucks, $300,000. That's a heck of a lot of money in the next 10 years. So as we're working on capital improvement, we have to keep these numbers in mind. You know, we don't want to scare people, we don't want to, you know, do anything like that. And that's just the fire department. Okay, that's just the fire department. Right now, land use. Well, we know that Jason is doing a stellar job by himself, but when Jason is up to capacity, that is having a secretary and everything that he needs down there, he needs a new computer system downstairs. He had asked last year to get computers with a system where if he were out doing an inspection and he could be typing on his iPad, whatever thingy he uses, that when he got back here, it would already be here. You know, his secretary would have it. You know, they're just, you know, the roads and everything. The school is gonna need a kitchen freezer. We know Dennis, you know, they replaced their second boiler.
Yeah, they did.
They did at the beginning of the summer, okay. So, their freezer, $7,000. Next year, which I was at this meeting, so I know it, fiscal year 2024, a kitchen dishwasher. Anybody want to bet what that costs? $20,000. It says roof upgrades, 2024, $30,000. And sidewalks is in here, and I don't know about them, for $15,000. There, you know, there you go. We don't want to spend our taxpayers' money, but we want to be in a good position. We want to husband our money properly. We want to spend where it needs to be spent. We want to get it so maintenance is done where it should be done, so we don't have these big expenditures. And, you know, that is really what we're all about. But we will be needing to send somebody over to talk to the new chief. I think we let him, I know his feet are wet. He's a fireman. He has wet feet, right?
Yeah.
But you have to make an appointment, and I believe, Joe, you are a liaison to the fire department, you and Wayne?
It could be, I don't know, you reassigned us.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Right, yeah, but you are because Roland is gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
So you have to go talk to, you know, and, you know, is there anything you want to bring up?
Not at this time, no.
No? Okay. Well, Robin, thank you very much for bringing it here. We'll expect to see you, and I will announce, we are having our meeting November 29th. That takes the place of a December meeting, you know. I think people are busy enough. And our next meeting after that will be January 10th, and we'll have Robin on the agenda.
I might even have that numbers before the November one.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
For the new entrance and the
Yep,
metal exit.
Are
good.
you gonna do the metal thing right away?
I would like to, Joe. Depends on what the price comes in. Because I didn't do this year's budget, my budget, so I don't know if I can
Just talking
squeeze out
about
enough.
ramp, are you talking about doing anything with the fence, entranceway, putting it more on that side there, so when you come in, you swing over toward the ramp, and the, you know how you have the fence?
Which fence?
The existing fence.
Entrance fence?
And on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So then you have to nudge over to go over to the...
Oh, you mean bring that fence in like I,
Yeah, well, over toward the orchard, you know, in other words, widen it out a little.
oh, I haven't got a price on it. I did get a price on a electric fence moved in 15 feet, because Punskey's truck and even my plow truck, when I plow, I'm out in the roadway, part of it, when I unlock the gate. I got a
You'd like
price.
to be-
Right, I got a price of moving that entrance fence in 15 feet, and a electric one, like I mentioned before, was 10 grand.
With the fence,
For the fence, the electric thing, and
Installed?
moving it in 20 feet.
we're moving into the future, and I think that all these improvements gotta be done. You know, I mean, you remember with the pandemic thing?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was dangerous,
Yeah, absolutely,
you know, it was,
yeah.
the pandemic didn't get you the...
But I'm holding off on moving the fence in until we get the other entrance in, and maybe we can combine the two together.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't, you know, but I did get one estimate from Stony Fence, and that was 10 grand.
Yeah. That's installed and everything.
Yes, yes.
That would be up high enough so that when you got snow, you wouldn't necessarily have to shovel underneath. It would go on.
Right, they're coming out with some stuff that it's like a rubber and it runs through the track, so it keeps the snow off it. Yeah, somebody's still gonna have to shovel a little bit, but not
Oh,
as much as it used to be.
they probably are doing the, I have them on my stairs.
Yeah.
They're rubber mats, they're electrified.
Yeah,
I don't care what kind of snow we get.
yeah, no, this is kind of like
Yeah.
the rubber, the pipe that runs through is rubber, and it just runs across.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And like the ones you have for home use.
Oh, yeah.
It's not pipes, it's just wires.
Right.
And the rubber runs over it and, you know,
But
never have to
I
shovel
put that on the
steps.
back burner because I thought the metal thing would be more practical to get done this year. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Sorry I was late.
Glad you got here. Joe, would you like to ask for a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Great, thank you for
Congratulations, Robin.